into a team voices, the silent sound, making choices, rising up to inspire the still small voice, the inner making me rejoice where stillness precise, climbing the tree, interpreted utterly perfected, supremely directed, put out into the deep, echoing as concrete voices, cascading so slightly into hurting voices, the silent sound. Access Mundi, the Maypole. Access Mundi as the Maypole is a profound esoteric symbol. The Maypole represents the union of inner purity with the outer, the spine. This signifies Kundalini rising, while the ribbons as colorful symbols of the chakras unfolding. Access Mundi as the Maypole symbolizes the final triumph, with the wreath at the top serving as the chakra's fullness, the lotus. Access Mundi and the Maypole serves as an abstract principle defined as a concrete symbol, the descent of quality, consciousness, wholeness, holiness, toward the ascent of quantity, oneness, emptiness, anatta, no self. This is the clarity of purity, soul, the only presence, as a reverberation or echo, righteous Eris Avatara. The Pythagorean method believes numbers are a fundamental principle of reality, whereas the Buddha, the inner teacher, is transfigured within the enlightening to emptiness known as anatta, no self, mastery. Access Mundi, the Maypole, signify earthly, physical completion. Number 10. The number 1 as the pole, and the circle caused by the dance or dynamism represented as 0, the return to immaculacy. In truth, this is exactly what Access Mundi, the Maypole, depict, the authentic as expression of the genuine state. In the reign of quantity, the author presents a vision of the end times as it relates to this as embodying refinement. This speaks of ascent from form, fabrication, quantity, or otherness to the descent of materia, the primal essence of an original state. Antichrist, materia consciousness, the abode of soul, the only presence. This is the predicted reign from an inverted quality, the fallen state, just before the end of the age. The victory over the world ego illusion, the kingdom of the Antichrist. Access Mundi, the Maypole, have been externalized as associated with cosmology and nature, where both are simply products of the world ego, the mind, the mental. And in reality, Access Mundi, the Maypole, both stand as the stabilization of consciousness, whose roots are embedded in her own truth. CG, the womb chakra of infinity. The month of May holds great significance, not as time symbolism, but as mother. May centers on rebirth and the activation of potential springing forth. May acts as the catapult, as a pivotal high-powered catapult into higher states of consciousness, represented as the sunlit half of the year. The word May means mother, Kemetic Ma'a, the root of Ma'a, the state of harmony and balance. In other words, May signifies the end of duality, or have and have not. May is the source of full potential. May is rooted in the Old English word meg, which means to have power. May is the center umbilicus, the connecting point. Access Mundi, the Maypole, was an integral aspect towards expansion of consciousness, far beyond any other ideas were bastardized as nature or seasonal relevance. The fallen state shows how degraded Access Mundi, the Maypole, has become. It is now the world ego's greatest defilement as a stripper pole. There is no longer any inner integrity associated with the Maypole, and the beautiful significance once related as the epitome of flourishing in the abundance of truth is now celebrated as the home of lust and promiscuity. Access Mundi, the Maypole, once the renowned symbol of excellence and superiority, is given the stature of nothingness, debased, and belittled. This proves the great danger that externalizing creates. It takes internal prominence and tramples it until its truth is no longer recognizable. Because love is truth, the never to be forgotten is rebirth from obscurity to prime distinction as the key to their deeper meaning within the end times traditional eschatologies. The restoration of Access Mundi, the Maypole, are enthralling symbols of sacred science. Gnosis, the direct experience, the exquisite dance of the growth to awaken consciousness, with all the spectacular brilliance, expected from shattering bondage and darkness. Access Mundi, the Maypole, is the restoration from the barbaric perversion of the crucifixion, of outer sacrifice of trees and secular rituals, to being redeemed back to a venerable repute. The Mayan interpretation of Access Mundi is one of the greatest examples of externalizing a concept. The earth and sky are totality. In Omen and Mayan understanding, the ceiba tree is the concept of Access Mundi, the Maypole. This signifies a system within systems, with each symbolizing connecting consciousness to the next stage of growth expansion. Sky, the limitless, birthed earth. Earth produced woman. There is no separation from sky, the sacred moon, and the sacred architecture or mountain, symbol of one's personal rebuilding or growing wisdom, emulated as a function to simulate the awakened consciousness or pinnacle of truth within the conduit, the temporary personality or character. The temple on top of the pyramid, the fire in the middle, served as the righteous heiress, Avatara, the great height of the inner light. The world ego cannot relate to a unified state where a whole culture worked in tandem under sublime guidance. That is the significance of America as the central hub, Mecca, and navel of totality, not the divisions of North, Central, and South. Man, the fallen state, which was a displacement. In other words, not able to comprehend or align with holiness, the Garden of Eden. The fallen state signifies the loss of consciousness or communication with the sublime essence. Access Mundi, the Maypole, represents re-establishment and restoration of righteousness. The Hindu concept Ida Pingala and the Egyptian Wajet Nekbet signifies this union of the inner-outer substance, weaving around the central spine, Sushumna, or Access Mundi, the Maypole. These pairs represent balanced rising of the celestial and mundane protection within the temporary character. The rising of Kundalini symbolizes Mount Meru, the lotus or crown chakra, the return to zero, the starting point. Wajet Nekbet mirrors as the Uraeus. Wajet, the cobra, Lower Egypt, the awakened consciousness, and Nekbet, the vulture, Christ's material consciousness, Upper Egypt. Just like Ida, as within, as above, and Pingala, so without, so below. These concepts represent the twin nadis, rise up the spine. Access Mundi, the Maypole, to symbolize the elevated, awakened consciousness and sublime authority, opening the third eye, enlightening. Both systems use the serpent imagery to represent the serpent of Eden, giving knowledge to Adam and Eve, renewal and resurrection. These symbols are more than just signifying protection. It is a call to go within in order to raise Kundalini, the union where inner power over the illusion proves her prevalence. Access Mundi, the Maypole, is the symbolism of the establishing of righteousness, Dharma, uprightness. Access Mundi, the Maypole, is the definition of growth, vigor, and vitality. The world ego communities continue to see the Maypole as an exterior experience of patriarchal symbolic ritual based on the phallic nature. It is a great honor to exalt Access Mundi, the Maypole, to the prestigious pertinence of truth, the intertwining of Christ's material consciousness, the abode of soul, the only presence reflected as individual materialism consciousness, Padmasambhava, the lotus born, in expression, awakened consciousness.